Namaste. Welcome you all for today's presentation where I will be speaking on inductively coupled plasma. Thanks for all your patronage and support for previous lectures. At the outset, let me thank the organizers, that is Dr. Kishore Patwardhan and his team of Ayurveda Network, Banaras Hindu University, for giving me this opportunity to interact with you people. Today, I have selected a topic that is inductively coupled plasma spectroscopy. I am sure all of you know very well that modern instrumental methods of analysis have contributed a lot in standardization, quality control, quality assurance of Ayurvedic products. That too, the most challenging Rasaushadhis. One such technique is inductively coupled plasma spectroscopy. I am sure that some of you must have used this technique for the analysis of your research products during your post-graduation or PhD thesis works. You must have used this technique to quantify trace elements that are present in the product. Many of you must have gone through various such scientific articles where utilization of inductively coupled plasma spectroscopy, maybe mass spectroscopy or optical emission spectroscopy or atomic emission spectroscopy were followed. Today, let us try to understand what is the scientific principle based on which this inductively coupled plasma spectroscopy is designed and developed, and how this particular technique can be incorporated for the analysis of Ayurvedic products, and what information we can obtain from them. To make the presentation easy to understand and simplified, I have divided this into two parts. In this session, we will take up the first part of the presentation on inductively coupled plasma spectroscopy. What is this inductively coupled plasma? An inductively coupled plasma, which is abbreviated as ICP, or transformer coupled plasma, that is TCP, it is another name for this. It's a type of plasma source in which the energy is supplied by electric currents which are produced by electromagnetic induction, that is, by time varying magnetic fields. Try to understand this sentence. ICP is only a source of energy. It is the source of plasma. You know what is a plasma? You can just recall your high school days where all of us have studied that there are four states of matter: solid, liquid, gas, and the fourth one is plasma, which is a high energy state. In inductively coupled plasma, we are talking about a plasma source. And here, the energy is supplied by electric currents. These electric currents are produced by electromagnetic induction. How the electromagnetic field is induced? It is induced by time varying magnetic fields. Here, inductively coupled plasma is only the source of energy. I explained you earlier also when I was talking about scanning electron microscopy. In all the instrumental methods of analysis, we have a source of energy, which may be in the form of electrons, protons, light, that is cathodoluminescence, or it may be in the form of X-rays, gamma rays, etc. This energy beam interacts with the particles of the sample and the signals are generated. These various types of signals are captured, They are transduced, they are amplified, they are presented and analyzed. So here, inductively coupled plasma is not a complete instrumentation. It is the source of generation of energy. We should have a second part, which is in the form of a spectroscope. Maybe mass spectroscopy, atomic emission spectroscopy, optical emission spectroscopy, etc., which makes the instrument complete. Let us try to understand further. An inductively coupled plasma is a plasma that is energized or ionized by inductively heating the gas with an electromagnetic coil, and it contains a sufficient concentration of ions and electrons to make the gas electrically conductive. Here, this state of plasma is an energized state, that is, an ionized state. Gas is heated to a very high temperature to make it energized, or some particles, some atoms of the gas are converted into ions, and this is induced by electromagnetic coil. Sufficient concentrations of the ion and electrons when generated, they make the gas electrically conductive. Even a partial ionized gas, entire molecules of the gas need not be ionized. A partially ionized gas, maybe as little as 1% of the particles when ionized, can have the characteristics of a plasma. That means response to magnetic fields and high electrical conductivity. These are the two important characteristics of a plasma. The medium responds to magnetic fields and it conducts electricity. So such plasma state is attained when a gas, especially an inert gas, is ionized maybe only up to 1%. This is how a plasma is symbolically presented. Plasma is one of the four fundamental states of matter, as I already mentioned, and it is not something new that is introduced. In 1920s, it was introduced by a chemist known as Irving Langmuir. It consists of a gas of ions, that is the atoms which have some of their orbital electrons removed and free electrons. From an atom, when an orbital electron is knocked out, it becomes excited and becomes ions. So such ions are present here. At the same time, there will be free electrons also. Plasma can be artificially generated by heating a neutral gas or subjecting it to a strong electromagnetic field to the point where an ionized gaseous substance becomes increasingly electrically conductive. You know that there is a plasma in nature during lightning. You must have observed that during lightning, electricity is conducted from the sky to the earth. The medium in between, the gas, becomes highly conductive for electricity. In the same manner, artificially also we can generate plasma. For this purpose, a neutral gas is heated to a very high temperature, or it is subjected to a strong electromagnetic field to such a point that there will be ionization in the atoms of gaseous substance, and that becomes increasingly electrically conductive. The resulting charged ions and electrons become influenced by long-range electromagnetic fields, making the plasma dynamics more sensitive to these fields than a neutral gas. A neutral gas is not sensitive to this electromagnetic field. Once the plasma is generated, maybe because of high temperature or due to the influence of long-range electromagnetic field, then the plasma dynamics become more sensitive. An inductively coupled plasma or ICP for spectrometry is sustained in a torch that consists of 3 concentric tubes. I will describe this later while explaining ICP-MS. So there will be a torch which has 3 concentric tubes, and these tubes are usually made up of quartz. Although the innermost tube, which is called as injector, can be of sapphire. Sapphire may be used to prepare the innermost tube, especially when we use hydrofluoric acid in the experiment. And the outer 2 tubes are almost always made up of quartz. The end of this torch is placed inside an induction coil supplied with radio frequency electric current or RF field. A flow of argon gas, you know that argon is a neutral gas which is selected for ICP. A flow of argon gas at a rate of about 13 to 18 liters per minute is introduced between the 2 outermost tubes, that is 2 quartz tubes of the torch, and an electric spark is applied for a short time to introduce free electrons into the gas stream. These electrons, the electrons that are generated by applying electric spark, these electrons interact with the radio frequency magnetic field of the induction coil and are accelerated first in one direction, then the other as the field changes at high frequency. Once the electromagnetic field is generated, then the electrons will be oriented in one direction. Once the field is changed, it will move in another direction. Here, the field changes are at such a high frequency that you cannot imagine. Say 27.12 million cycles per second. You can imagine within a second how many times the electrons should change their path. The accelerated electrons that move rapidly in different directions collide. They will collide with argon atoms in the gas, and sometimes a collision causes an argon atom to part with one of its electrons. Once one of the electrons is knocked out, naturally that atom becomes ionized. The released electrons, due to the collision with the fast moving electrons, the electrons that are knocked out from the atoms of the argon, these released electrons, in turn get accelerated by the rapidly changing magnetic fields. Now we have fast moving ions and electrons in the field. This process continues until the rate of release of new electrons in collisions is balanced by the rate of recombination of electrons with argon parents. You know that once the electrons are knocked out from the orbit, atom gets excited, becomes ion, and it will try to return to an unexcited ground state. For this, electron should again combine. That is known as recombination of the electrons. So this process of generation and accelerated movement of ions and electrons will continue until the rate of release of new electrons in collisions is balanced by the rate of recombination of electrons with argon ions. So this produces a fireball that consists mostly of argon atoms with a rather small fraction of free electrons and argon ions. The temperature of plasma here is very high. It may be of the order of 10,000 kelvins, that is say 9,700 26.85 degrees centigrade. The plasma also produces ultraviolet light. So you have to be very, very careful. You have to avoid the direct contact or direct observation of ultraviolet rays. So you should take all the safety precautions not to view UV light that is produced during the generation of this plasma. What are the types of ICP spectrometers here? There are spectrometers used in ICP, and among them three are more important. ICP AES, that is inductively coupled plasma atomic emission spectrometer. ICP OES, inductively coupled plasma optical emission spectrometer, and a type of mass spectrometer. We can say an advanced type of mass spectrometer coupled with inductively coupled plasma, that is MCICP-MS, or multi-collector type of inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometer. This is how an ICP-MS looks. This picture shows you ICP AES, and this is a photograph of ICP OES. Now let us focus on ICP-MS, or inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometer or mass spectrometry. And this is most useful for the analysis of Ayurvedic products, especially Rasaushadhis, because they are having highest sensitivity. This ICP-MS, or inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry, is a type of mass spectrometry that is highly sensitive and capable of determination of a range of metals and several non-metals at concentrations below 1 parts per billion. At a concentration below 1 parts in 10 to the power 12, when compared to atomic absorption spectrometry, which is commonly followed, which can determine you the particles up to parts per million. Here up to parts per billion, even beyond that, you can identify and also you can quantify. It is based on coupling together an inductively coupled plasma as a method of producing ions or ionization, with a mass spectrometer as a method of separating and detecting the ions. You must be knowing by this time that mass spectrometer separates the ions by mass to charge ratio. ICP-MS is also capable of monitoring isotopic speciation of the ions of choice. This is very interesting. It may be the same chemical element, but maybe a different isotope. This isotopic speciation is not possible in the technologies like atomic absorption spectroscopy or flame photometry. Here, we can even identify the isotopic speciation because mass to charge ratio is considered in mass spectroscopy. This is achieved by ionizing the sample with inductively coupled plasma and then using a mass spectrometer to separate and quantify these ions. Compared to atomic absorption spectroscopy, as I already mentioned, ICP-MS has greater speed, better precision, and high sensitivity. If you see this schematic diagram, you can see that atomic absorption spectroscopy, where flame is used as a source, your analysis may be limited up to 1 parts per million. If you are using graphite furnace, it may be more sensitive. Say up to 1 parts per billion also you can detect. ICP OES also falls almost in the same range from 1 parts per billion to parts per million. ICP-MS is more sensitive. It can reveal you the particles even up to parts per trillion. And we have an advanced type of ICP-MS, that is HR ICP-MS, about which I will mention you at the end, where even parts per quadrillion, that much fine particles can be identified and measured. By this, you can understand the detection limits of various instruments that are used for the identification of metals and non-metals, and also quantification of them. If you are talking in terms of analysis speed, here speed will be faster, here detection limit will be lower. ICP OES and MS both have an analysis speed of 1 to 3 minutes per sample. Atomic absorption spectroscopy, where flame is used, 15 seconds per element per sample is the speed. Atomic absorption spectroscopy, where graphite furnace is used, analysis is still slower. It requires 2 to 3 minutes per element per sample replicate. So let us understand further about inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry. So this is an analytical technique used for elemental determinations. The technique was commercially introduced in 1983, that's about 37 years ago, and has gained general acceptance in many types of laboratories. It was the geochemical analytical labs who early adopted this, because they found that they have superior detection capabilities. So particularly for the rare earth elements, you know that rare earth elements are present in very small quantities. For their analysis, ICP-MS was found to be very useful. Regarding the advantages of ICP-MS, ICP-MS has many advantages over other elemental analysis techniques such as, say, atomic absorption and optical emission spectrometry, including ICP atomic emission spectroscopy or ICP-AES. And these advantages are detection limits for most elements equal to or better than those obtained from graphite furnace atomic absorption spectroscopy is what we see here. That means higher detection limits or more and more finer particles can be identified in this ICP-MS. Higher throughput than GFAAS. That means quickly more number of elements can be screened. Then the ability to handle both sample and complex matrices with a minimum of matrix interfaces due to the high temperature of the ACP source. Superior detection capability to ICP-AES with the same sample throughout. That is, the sample throughput screening will be similar to ICP-AES, where more number of elements can be screened. With the same sample throughput, superior detection capability can be expected here. Then, as I already mentioned, the ability to obtain isotopic speciation or isotopic information. So this is in general about the ICP-MS. In the second part, I will further elaborate how this ICP-MS works, instrumentation, and its application. Till then, goodbye. Thanks for joining me. See you again.